then I took that brave step, the first step, biggest step, I may call it, to really start sharing with my family. And that's exactly what I did. And I talked to my family that I've always perceived myself as that I should be very strong, that I should be physically and mentally strong in front of the society. So this, I would say, perception that I had about myself was really very stressful. And so I told that not yet spoken because speaking about mental health, I would be seen as being very weak. That is how I had grown up building this bias around me. But to my pleasant surprise, when I started sharing with my family, they were so receptive to it, and they really made me feel so comfortable when I shared with them about what I was going. So it helped me really feel so relieved, and also build a very special bond with my family. I'm sure my opening up with my about my mental health issues would also help my son to really not build up that bias that men don't need to talk about their mental health. So this wonderful opportunity to give some good advice for my son too. So I think it's very important that men start talking about their mental issues, starting at the with their family and of course with their friends. This is what wanted to share with all of you.
Thanks, Pawan. Over to you, Nasir.
Yes. So Ekktaa, I'm going to share a small story to kind of bring things in perspective. And I was in grade 5, and that moment was a very defining moment for me in a lot of things, in terms of confidence, in terms of me understanding life. So I was to go on stage. I went on stage. It was Teachers' Day, and I was reciting a poem. And whilst I was reciting this poem, there was this line that said, "We are all so happy and gay today." Being a 5th grade at that time, the only meaning of gay I knew was happiness, right? And the seniors from behind started hooting and shouting, and I didn't know why, what, and I came down running from the stage, crying. And there was this individual who was standing there at that moment of time, and he came and told me that, "You're a boy, boys don't cry." I was lucky that my mom saw that, and she came running to me and she said, "Listen, cry it out, go back on stage, make it happen." She was that defining moment, that defining person that helped me understand and live my life better. Being in the corporate world and being around young adults, I've noticed that it's very easy. I wouldn't say it's very easy, but let's say women are a little bit more comfortable in coming and expressing if there is a concern, be it personal, be it professional. Men kind of try to hold back. They put that curtain, like a parda that Munshi Premchand talked about, something similar to that, and they refuse to do that. The other thing that I've realized is that how comfortable are men seeing another man cry and talking to them or expressing themselves. When I first had a conversation with somebody and that person burst into tears, I didn't know how to handle it. And over a period of time, you understand that better. And so I just guess it's something about a societal bias and a societal expectation today that men are not allowed to express themselves. It is weak for men to cry. So I just hope, that by us just addressing it today, there is a little bit more openness and awareness towards expressing ourselves.
Thanks, Nasir. It was really very thoughtfully you gave us your own experience. Thanks for sharing that. Over to you, Apoorv.
Okay. Personally, I have noticed one thing. In our kind of society, people are really happy when a boy is born. They celebrate that boy's birth. But then they get extremely impatient. That boy is not allowed to be boy. he has to become a man. I have personally observed this. I have listened to this statement many times. Apoorv, you're not small anymore. You're a man. So the funny part here is that being born as a boy is not enough. You, according to our society, you immediately have to become a man. And the boy is dumbfounded because how do you expect a boy to be a man, to act like a man, to think like a man, to talk like a man? So the boy asks, not verbally, but he asks how to be a man. And he gets all kind of ideas about a role, a script to be played out in a drama. All those stereotypical ideas, mard ko dard nahi hota, those kind of stuff. No physical pain, no psychological pain. So the only thing a boy knows about becoming a man is that reject your vulnerabilities, pretend that they are not there. Just behave that you don't have them. You're somehow Superman. You're invincible. So, right since childhood, a boy is forced to play a role which is not him. And that creates these kind of biases, tremendous biases. And like Nasir correctly pointed out, when this man child looks at another man child who just can't take this load anymore and he breaks down, this previous man child simply doesn't know what to do with it. Because now that man child has walked out of the script. And when somebody walks out of the script, the other actors on the stage don't know what to do with that actor anymore. And that creates this problem, these walls. We simply shun out such a person. We reject that person's right. And then we say, you're not a man. And that creates problems.
That is really, really, you've gotten a different space altogether, Apoorv. So thank you for bringing out that space because what you also highlighted is the transition between a boy to a man. That's very quick and lot is expected.
Right.
So you highlighted that beautiful, and yes, that image of being a Superman, a superhero all the time. It creates a lot of pressure. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure, glad to.
All right, so I'm going to move on to my next panel question, and let me just bring in the panel members. Okay, just give me a minute. So my next question to Chakor, Pawan, and Apoorv, and Paris, yes. I want to understand from your views, how do we define masculinity and how do you see relation of men and emotions? I know it's a question where you really have to, break those barriers and talk about it. But I really want to know, and I want the audience also to understand. And audience, one honest request: if you want to resonate, or if you feel any of the panel members are feeling resonate with you can let us know in the chat forum. If you have any questions for us, you can ask us in the chat forum. We would definitely be very happy to answer. So here goes the question one more time, panel members. Definition of masculinity and how do you see relations of men and emotions? And I'm going to request Chakor to start here.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be in this panel in presence of my guru. I call him Guru is Dr. Paras. And the beauty of this program is a wonderful, beautiful lady is moderating this session about mental health of men. That's very unique. And she's taking this topic ahead. The basic topic of mental health of men has two parts. Mental health is one part. We are nowadays getting aware that it's an issue, and mental health of men is probably first of the forums I've we started thinking on, and thanks to Tava-Mitram to bring this up. Now, masculinity always means strong and brave. We have been taught right from the beginning, don't cry like a girl. You're a boy. You're a man. Many times the emotions which come to men, now we have started thinking, it started reflecting, is many times all the emotions come and stop at the men level. A man is playing many roles in the industry, in the organization he leads, in the family. So the emotions with him is every time the challenges come to him and end. Probably he doesn't have anywhere to go to really express or share his emotions. Very rarely, because he's not supposed to show his emotions. He's supposed to always put a mask. He's supposed to always show the world that he has all the solutions of world. If he is tensed up, a man's mental health is not very cheerful or good or proper. It reflects on each member of the family, each member of the organization. They look up to him because he is in a role of a leader. He's in a role of probable solution provider for everyone. So only a child, probably a child, when you have grandchildren, which I have, that's the only time you really can have very free emotions with children. So we have been taught to keep our emotions to ourselves. Try to see that we are not even permitted. I don't even remember I have really cried, though I felt like these emotions we are not supposed to. The whole world is looking at you. Oh my God, he's crying like a girl. So is are men not supposed to cry? Are men not supposed to be really showing their emotions? So most of the times these emotions are masked by the masks we are wearing. And all these emotions suppressed, not being expressed, not being shared, not being transferred, somewhere builds up this mental stress and becomes a mental health issue. So these emotions probably are really very important emotions, and they are equally with gender. I don't think so men get this and women get this. Yes, a few of there could be a scale of little difference, but that doesn't mean it is gender bias or this only men get or only women get. That's how the world sees. That's how we have been conditioned from being a child. That's how a family is shown. Oh, this woman is stronger than the men in the family, because the man is supposed to be stronger, supposed to be, not necessarily. So we have always been led by men. They've been, they are supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be brave. And these emotions really, thanks to Tava-Mitram, we got a chance to share this. We also have emotion. We have sorrow. We also feel low at times. We feel scared. We feel concerned. We feel someone should listen to us. And there's really, with men, it's very difficult to find unless you go to a coach or a mentor to express these emotions. So finding a way to these emotions is an important part of the mental health of men. I think so, Ekta. These are my views, and really great to be on this show.
Thank you so much, Chakor. You really, honestly, you just you expressed your honest expressions. At the same time, you came up with wonderful space of the should be's of the society that creates pressure. So thank you so much, Chakor. Pawan would love to hear from you.
Yes. So thanks, Chakor, for really bringing up so many challenges that men face around, expressing their emotions. I would like to bring in a different perspective around the definition of masculinity. So, according to me, masculinity is not related to the men. It is basically characteristic or a quality of every gender. So masculinity exists in every gender, just like femininity exists. So the part of any individual is embodied in the incredible ability to provide the steady, unyielding energy that takes away the fears of vulnerable. And its power is in the consistent reassurance and following through. So I feel this part is there seen in every gender, men, other genders, all displaying this masculine part or this masculine quality. And this masculine quality, it's love purest form when one is really expressing, taking control, protecting. On the other hand, the feminine part is all about driving creative force that moves and guides the world to evolve. It has the ability to recognize the needs of the people around them. So I feel the feminine part of it is its ability to express emotions. So every has this part and can express the emotions and love. So the existing emotion is there in every human being. It's the very basic nature of a person. I feel it's the so there's no question about challenging this law of nature and suppressing our feelings. So I feel every man has this emotional part, should not suppress it in any way. Instead, he needs to accept and deal with it. So our inherent part as human beings, and men are part of that. So that's what I wanted to share.
So much, Pawan. That was really insightful. Pawan has built an amazing foundation. Would you like to take it over and let us know your views?
Sure. I think Pawan has really highlighted about what the meaning of masculinity is, and I just want to take to a philosophical and traditional approach as well. If I look back to the concept of Ardhanari Nateshwar, or the Jungian theory of Amina and Aminus, it always talks about these two forces, the masculine and the feminine energy, stays with us. So, if I look at the word masculinity as a role, I define it as a responsibility of self or also of others. When I look at masculinity as a feeling, it comes to me in a form of energy and movement, while masculinity as a body is a doer. So I think from all different angles, when I look at masculinity, it takes its different shape, size, and form depending upon what context we are building in. But to answer to the next question, that how do you see the relation of men and emotions? So the anatomy of the brain defines the limbic system is a brain area located between the brain stem and the two cerebral hemispheres that governs emotion and memory. It includes the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and hippocampus. What does it all derive to? That the emotional brain exists in all of us. So, from Apoorv's point and Chakor's point, I just want to build up. While Apoorv talked about from a journey of a man, boy to a man goes in so quickly, and there is no control, and that's how the system pulls him. I would like to also highlight that it is required now to look at from the boy to human, to allow to feel. Also, from Chakor's point, that I would like to extend that don't cry like a girl. And I want to establish today another other thought to all of us is how can I cry like a boy? Have we created yet? So it clearly defines that and confirms that men and women feel emotions equally. And it's natural to express. If it's monsoon, it will rain. If it's summer, we will feel hot or warm. In the same way, we men have emotions to feel. How do we express it and channelize it? There is a growing need for mindfulness and emotional resilience for men to express it functionally. Remember, if we suppress any emotion, it comes out in a very dysfunctional way. So masculinity for me is to learning to express over suppress. Thank you.
Thanks, Paras. That was really, really powerful because now you asked us a question. We need to create how do men cry? We really need to understand this emotion. That was a powerful question that you raised. Thank you.
And also, Chakor, I would like to say that thank you for acknowledging, but I would also like to acknowledge you've been a wonderful person that I have learned a lot. So thank you. Equally reciprocate my guru to you as well. Thank you.
So let's quickly move on to Apoorv because I'm sure Apoorv has his own views as well. So Apoorv, I look forward to your views.
Sure. The word masculinity, if you ask a primary school student what is masculinity, he or she will immediately tell you that it is an antonym for femininity. And that's not the child's mistake, it's in the syllabus because we are teaching children to see masculinity and femininity as antonyms, as equal opposites. We are essentially telling them to see men and women as equal opposites. And I think that's highly tragic. Why? Because men are naturally programmed into thinking that you are supposed to be an opposition to whatever a woman is. If her hair are long, then your hair must be short. If it is okay for her to cry, it must not be okay for you to cry. If it is okay for her to be emotionally vulnerable, then it must not be okay for you to be emotionally vulnerable. Do we realize what kind of horrible idea we are bestowing upon a child? I think it's not about masculinity versus femininity, it should be masculinity and femininity. The both are not opposites, they can be each other's allies or friends because they complement each other. That's how I see it. I see masculinity of the whole. A truly integrated person will have both qualities, masculine as well as feminine. And as far as the connection between men and emotion is concerned, I would say one thing. If masculinity gives you any idea about strength, capacity, that's beautiful. But remember one thing, your life is like a building. Masculinity is all about the defense of that building, the concreteness of that building, the structure, the composure of that building. And femininity is all about the creativity, what you do once you're inside the building. You need both to have a healthy life. So if you're talking about the connection between men and emotions from the viewpoint of masculinity, I would say one thing. Strength comes only when we are open to our weaknesses. Only then we are willing to work on them. So I have a heartful appeal to all those men who are listening and watching this video. Please embrace your weaknesses wholeheartedly. Only then we together can work on them, and only then you can be a strong person. Yes, I'm using the I'm using the word person and not a man, because I think that's our ultimate goal: the integration of the masculine and feminine traits in you and become the whole. I think that completion is what we are all seeking. And I sincerely wish all the best to all those who are willing to embark on that journey. Thank you.
Wow, Apoorv, you brought in a different space about expressing, and that's the sign of strength. Wow, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, so here's the next question I want most of the panel members to answer. And yes, we haven't heard from Mudit from a very long time. So, Mudit, this question we will begin from you. And this question is, how do you want people to think or feel about you? So, Mudit, Apoorv, Paris, Nasir, Chakor, I'm going to come back to you guys one by one. So, let's begin with Mudit.
Ekktaa, you caught me off guard because I was in such a space listening to the panelists in as a response to your previous question, such different perspectives, and which were activating layers of my own thought that I didn't knew exist. Especially what Paras brought in, I sincerely feel when Paras uses prose, it sounds like poetry, and that his phrase of "Do you cry like a man" has really stuck with me. Just to bring a historical perspective to your question, and this is completely my perspective. It may or may not be factually true from what I've gathered from multiple sources. Is if we go back to the Dark Ages, when people refer to humans of the Dark Ages, they say when man was born, and when man went out to hunt, and when man lived in caves. So when man went out to hunt, he ate to the cubic capacity of his stomach because he didn't know when the next meal would come for him and those people who he lived within those caves, the community or the family as they would call them. So their man was really going out there and was the person who had to brave the forces of nature to get food for and shelter for his family. I think around 7,000 BC, when the Neolithic age began, and I can say roughly around the same time when humankind began understanding the magic of agriculture, you start to realize that, all right, agriculture is a laborious job. People were living in larger families, and people used to have many children. Monogamy was sort of a universal norm, and men and multiple generations of men used to work out there toiling on the field, and the women of the family were inside taking care of the rest of the things. As we moved on from the Neolithic age to the Bronze Age, we started having our weapons. We started having these little wars here and there. It was men who went out there and fought the wars. Of course, when the damage of the war was faced, if not more than at least equally, by women and children as well. So men went out there, fought the wars. They had to be the face of things. They had to be strong. From the Neolithic and the Bronze Age, we went on to the Industrial Age, and in the first Industrial Revolution, families started to become smaller. The work which was laborious was slowly being and gradually being outsourced to machines. Women started coming into the workforce, but even then, because most of the work was supposed to be done in a certain way, and because history had taught us that men were supposed to go out there and work and women were supposed to stay home, the integration of women in the workforce in most geographies across the world still did not completely happen. And I think it is in the 1970s, when the information age began, much later, that we began to realize the importance of women coming out there and contributing their creative and otherwise all of their energies into the open world. And we started to see the convergence of the male strength and the female strength in making things happen. And right now, if information or social age, whatever you call it, we see men and women out there leading organizations, doing things neck to neck. And so the strengths of men and women throughout all of these years have really converged. But what I still think, Ekktaa, is the weakness of men and women, or the perceived weakness, has still to catch up with the strengths that have now merged. Because the strengths, all right, bringing the creativity, it has come together, but the weakness, even men feel emotions, is still back there. So physically, if men were perceived to be strong and they could go out there and do things, and they were less vulnerable to the forces of nature, great. But now that it is at the information age and we're out there battling with the knowledge economy, the weaknesses of men and women also need to converge and understand that, all right, these are the common challenges that we all face. So I think this was a historical perspective to what I think Ekktaa is why men are perceived in a certain way and expected to behave in that way. Sorry for the long one. I'm back to you.
No, I mean, I was much awaited, and it was beautifully how you connected the dots. Thank you so much, Mudit. That was really profound. Looking forward to Apoorv. Apoorv, your views, please.
Okay. In this case, I would have to say one thing, that the whole point here, trying to make here is that what other people should feel and think about me, right? Somewhere along the line, we need to check, are we drawing our own scripts? Because that's how we have been programmed, to draw scripts, to write scripts, and expect ourselves to play the roles according to the scripts, and expect others also to play certain other roles according to the scripts that we are writing for them, or whatever we have adopted, whatever we have conformed to. So I wouldn't use the word should here. I know we are not doing that, but in case anybody is, there may be a different alternative to it. How about asking people to just let me be myself and give them the opportunity as well to let them be themselves? Because maybe being modern, being aware, is all about the freedom to make our own forms of what I want to be, rather than conforming to what I should be. Maybe that's what is needed here for men as well as women. Maybe this role play needs to stop. Maybe we can have our own logical, reasonable, rational ideas at it. And if we are leading to any sort of developed society, I think that freedom of will, that freedom of choice needs to be there. Let's be aware that it shouldn't be so sad that the only choice we could possibly make is to choose what somebody else is choosing. It's okay to have differences. It's okay to have uniqueness and unique identities, individuality. We can be one among many. At the same time, we can be unity in variety. But I guess that variety needs to be there first, acknowledged, respected, appreciated. Only then it can be a unity. I think that's what we need. I think that's what I expect, I want, I desire from others as well. Thank you.
And thanks, Apoorv. Thanks for being open about the text. Over to you, Nasir.
Our system as such, and just take the movies, be it Bollywood, be it Hollywood, it's kind of set in that thought process that a man has to be the hero of the house. He has to be the hero of the society. And I was reading a while back and I came across these words by Russell Wilson, where he states that if we just start being honest about our pain, our anger, and our shortcomings, instead of pretending that they don't exist, then maybe we leave the world a better place than we found it. And I think, if I have to say, how do I want to be seen? How do I want to feel? I think being able to be emotionally accessible, at the same time emotionally expressible, where I don't have to think twice, or I don't have to, somebody's judging me to be not strong, somebody's judging me to be weak because my eyes are moist or my voice has got a little bit slower because of the emotions that I feel. That needs to go. We need to stop judging people and judging each other for our emotions and how we express them. Let me tell you about a movie that it's a situation at a theater, and we were out for a movie, and Bajrangi Bhaijaan, the last scene is a little bit emotional, and there was a little bit of a tear that came by my eye, and we were with friends, and my friend, she was along with me. Hey, she shouted, "Hey, Nasir, you're crying!" And people around the seats, they all started laughing, and I think that's unfair, right? I think emotions are personal, and be it man or woman, and in this case, since we are reflecting on men, I think we should allow them to just express themselves and don't judge them for their expression. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Thanks, Nasir, for bringing that thought about not to be judgmental being a man and we can't cry. So thank you for bringing that. Over to you, Paris.
I think I would like to resonate a lot first with Mudit's perspective from sharing us about the different era of what men and women passed through and how the role of the man shifted. And from Nasir's perspective of the last scene of Bajrangi Bhaijaan and many other emotional scenes, that resonates a lot more to me as well. Let me give you a different perspective here a bit. If you look at chakra, there are 7 chakras in your body. These are the energy point. And if you look at an animal kingdom and humans, the bottom 3, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, the chakra, these chakras are more to be looked at, more instinctive behavior. So if I'm feeling hungry, I will just go and pound. So that's how animals do. If they feel hungry, they will just go and have something for themselves. So very instinctive. While if you look at humans, we are gifted and bestowed by heart chakra, which is more about to feel and express. And if you look at from there to all the other top 3 chakras about the heart, are also talking a lot about free will. So what I want to derive here is that I have a heart, I have a free will. So that's the permission I have to be me. So I do not have a control about how people think about me, because free will is with everybody. So everybody wants to feel the way they want to feel. And I want to respect and honor how I build my perception about me within myself. When I look in the mirror, I see myself. But when I see outside the mirror, I see varied perceptions about me through the people. So I'm pretty glad to see in the mirror the way who I am, and I'm fine with the way I am. So that's something which resonates a lot for me, from connecting to the heart chakra, the ability to feel, and also to operate from free will and honor people the way they are, and honor myself. Who am I?
Thanks, Paris. That was really nice. Chakor, awaiting your views.
Lovely listening to this brilliant thoughts and resonations, and every word is worth listening and remembering. I'm sure it will be at the back of the mind for whole life. Uh, the question itself is so soothing that I started thinking, "Ki really, how have I transformed?" So, I personally have led a life where I always wanted to be appreciated and wanted to be good for all. Uh, Over a period, I evolved, and when this question came, I started thinking. Now is first of all, I would like people to feel what I am. I would never ever try to put a mask and show what I am not. So I'm coming from a school of thought that let them accept me as I am. What I would like to be felt is, one word would describe, and I would lead my entire life for this one word is, if they think Chakor is a dependable person. One word says everything. If they can depend on me, I think so my life is worth spending. This is what I would like them to feel about me. Second thing is, I may not be right for everyone, but I would always like them to feel that I have been fair. I would lead my life to being fair, absolutely fair. And third thing, what I would like them to really feel about me or think about me is how I make them feel. If I can meet a child with a smile and make him smile, if I meet someone and just ask a good question and that person feels good by meeting me, I think so that's what I would like to be. If I carry happiness, if I carry smiles on people's faces, if I can inspire, if I can motivate, if I can paint their lives a small stroke of a brush, small stroke of brush, a pat on the back, and it motivates people. It could be a game changer, it could be a changing life, it could be a breakthrough for people just by saying, "Oh, wow, you're so good at it." So, this is what I would like people to feel, and I am working towards it. And most important, what I've learned in coaching with Paras is listening. Most important part of mental health or men is who listens to them. People at the top are lonely. If they can look towards me and feel, "Oh, wow, I've got someone who will listen to me, not judge me, not advise me." Because, otherwise everyone opens the mouth only to advise before understanding the question. If they remember me, that he was a not good person, I would say. He was a dependable person. He was a person whom I could go and talk. He was a person whom I could trust. He may not be right, but he was a fair person. That's, I think so, are a few words I would like to lead my life and people to feel. Gone is the days that I want everyone to think that I'm good, because that's not the reality. Paris was saying what I see myself in the mirror and what people immediately say. I don't blame them, but that's how they feel they think about. So no more I am going to lead my life to be felt good every time. I cannot be good to everyone at all times. That's, I think, so what I would like the people to feel about me.
Wow, that was straightforward. Thank you, Chakor. Straightforward. I just want to be felt the way I am. Wow, thank you. So, how are you guys feeling as you are expressing your thoughts? Mudit, Apoorv, Paras, Nasir, Pawan, Chakor.
I'm so much in this intimate space, Ekktaa. I've forgotten that this is a webinar. It's like we're having a heart-to-heart conversation amongst ourselves here.
I second that, Mudit. True.
Ekktaa, can I express?
Yes, please. I'm looking forward to hearing.
Yeah, we are reflecting in I am reflecting in my mind. I said something which I have not planned. It came from the heart. It came from my brain. It came from my brain, but it is from my heart. And every word over here is think, oh wow, and we had never ever thought of this topic. Now we are really evolving, and really I'm getting so emotional about it. Okay, wow, this is a forum. We are talking on such a subject which is important but never ever discussed about it. So it's wonderful. It's a great session going on.
Super. Even I can feel the smile on your face, unburdening your emotions. That's beautiful. How about you, Nasir? Apoorv, Paras, how are you feeling right now?
You kind of feel that lightness sometimes in you, and whilst we're not talking about anything immediate that's impacting you, but just the fact that we're discussing something so close to you, to as an individual, to your heart, and you're able to discuss it so openly and so warmly, and everybody putting their thoughts together, it just makes you feel light and high, if I can say that.
So that's our panel is also unique. We have, someone who was born in the 50s, 60s era to someone who was born in the 90s. So, everyone here, despite of being from different eras, but the language, the thoughts are almost
True.
similar. So this is something which is unique. Wow. So, Apoorv, Paras, one quick line so that I can quickly move on.
I am full of warmth right now. I feel that whatever we are doing right now, it's so sweet and so tangibly sweet that I can just touch it and pinch its cheeks. It is really a best thing that we are doing. It's so beautiful. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. I can see that you're blushing as well. Wow.
For me, I think I am getting the metaphor of high tides and low tides. The high tides with so many thoughts, new thoughts, never thought about, are not only for me, but I think for the whole system where we are watching us. It's like a high tide, and a low tide where I'm just sweeping myself into it. I'm just smudging in the learning. So the both space I could witness at one go. So it's a lovely conversation.
Thanks, everyone. Let's quickly move on to the next question. Now, this question, at least I would request 3 or 4 members to come forward and talk about it. I am asking about, as a system, as a society, how can we build a support system for men? So, Nasir, Apoorv, Paras, Pawan, over to you guys. Can we begin with you, Nasir?
Absolutely. So, Ekktaa, one of the things that I kind of come across, and maybe I'm totally unaware of this, is there really is no formal support system for men. Is there a hotline that a man can pick up and call asking for help? Is there somebody he can go openly, and talk about it? And, when you're coaching, when you're handling situations, they never, 90% of the time they come, or 99% of the time, the the man comes with a problem which is completely career revolving around his career or her career, his career, work, coming for professional need. And as you go into it and you kind of reach that vulnerable space, you realize that there are more personal issues. And we need to create something where a man can reach out. And I really want to kind of just leave my thought as a question. How do we do that? And when will we do that? Over to you, Ekktaa.
Thanks, Nasir. Pawan, would you like to take it over?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Nasir, for that thought-provoking that you left us with. While Nasir talked about a very structured space for the men to get help around mental health issues, I want to just continue with my experience from the place from where I got support. And in the beginning, I shared about my family. I think why structured spaces would exist, this informal system, which is the family, I think needs to be made into a support system. And the men themselves take this first step around setting up this system and this space for the conversation. I definitely benefited from this conversation which been having with my family for some time, and I think this really is having a lot. So I would leave with this thought. It's very important to have the support system within the family where we are spending so much of our time. And I think this will also give space for others also to follow suit in the family to share their mental health issues. So I would strongly urge everyone to make this space for families.
Thank you so much. Paris, over to you.
Sure. I think for me, firstly, is Tava-Mitram. This is a platform which is created as a non-judgmental platform. We created this system so people can share openly and have open dialogue about different topics. One of the topics is about men and emotions. And a thought-provoking rhetorical question is, what if my father says, I'm scared? How is a family going to accept the father being scared, maybe a son, a daughter, a wife? Can they accept it? And how can we create that kind of support system for men to be themselves? This pandemic has created a serious impact a lot in men, because if you go back to our culture, there are a lot of men who are in many families are still the karta of the house. That means, and a loss of job or pay cuts have a deeper impact, psychological impact in them. It's just not about to people say that let's drink together, smoke together, and all problems are sorted out, but not. Mental health problems are not just informal 10 minutes conversation. It requires a lot of dialogues, maybe finding a coach, therapist, or maybe an emotional or intelligent coach or a mindfulness practitioner or any sort of body which can support you, can guide you in this journey. Because men tend to put that everything in their stomach, like, okay, I'll manage it. And that be strong, what Superman is actually not a Superman inside. He's so scared, but doesn't really know. So maybe open dialogues and open communication can be a very good space. Also, maybe there's a very important need for in schools for just not women but also for men to undergo emotional intelligence learnings, because if they do not know how to channelize their emotions, it can get into a lot of psychological dysfunctionality. So I think the most important thing, the support system for men can be for men to give them the psychological permission to voice out. So open dialogues are, I think, one of the most important thing. And Tava-Mitram is building space in different ways. One of the ways is group coaching. The second way that we started was My Mental Health, My Priority, which are 12 videos and which gives you a good insight wherever you are in the world for every man and woman out there, but for men I'm talking about right now, is to watch these videos and reflect a lot. And again, this Mental Health Matters is another series of sessions to have open dialogues. So I think we are building a system, we are building a space, we are enhancing the culture to relook from Chakor's question, how as a man I can cry, what are my ways to cry, and how can I be comfortable in my skin, and how my family can support me and my social group can support me. That's something I could resonate a lot more.
Thank you so much, Paras. I completely, understand. I concur with you, and that's what the aim is now, to have open dialogues in various fields, in various lenses. Thank you so much. Over to you, Apoorv.
As a psychologist, when I take cases, when I visit my male clients, many times I get a peculiar feedback from them. Most of them, after the first two sessions, they tell me that, Apoorv, I wanted to tell you one thing. Before coming to you, I was scared. Not now, I'm not scared anymore, thanks to you, but before coming to you, I was scared. So I asked them, why? Why were you scared? So they tell me that we were afraid that you will either get angry at us or you will laugh. So I asked them, why? Again, why would I get angry at you and or why would I laugh? Then they say one particular thing. I thought that I have a womanly problem and that's why you will get angry at me. The other statement they make is that I thought that I have a childish problem and that's why you will laugh at me. So I'm sensing something here that men have, or many people have placed certain lists in a man's mind. We don't see problems as problems. We see them as women's problems, then there are men's problems, then there are childish problems. That's what's happening here. We put problems into categories, and instead of solving the problem, what society does is that we see which list does it belong to. And if it doesn't belong to a man's problem list, then we ridicule, mock, or maybe get angry. So I guess when we talk about the support system, I think support systems are there because there are psychologists and there are counselors and there are psychiatrists, but it's kind of like an unknown lake. You want to drink out of it, but you don't know what will happen. The water may be poison, so you're afraid of the water, but at the same time you need it. So I politely suggest that we use social media as a platform to specifically engage this idea that mental health is about getting exactly what it promises, help, without any judgment and without any categorization of your problems. There is no need to see you as anybody else apart from you. No need to see your problem as a child's problem or a woman's problem. Yes, it is your problem and I'm here to help you. I think that statement, it needs to be there. As much as we can place it forward. I think that's the support system that we need so that men can engage it into it more. They will be encouraged to come forward. I think that's what we need.
Wow. So what I understand, what I learned from you here is, Apoorv, you're talking about don't categorize problems.
Precisely.
Don't be judgmental about things. So it may definitely ease out things. Let me get all the wonderful men in the room. Let me get Chakor in the room. Chakor?
Yeah.
Nasir, or I'm just waiting for Mudit. Yes. So I have all the lovely panel members here. So, we are on the top of the hour, so we have another 15 minutes to go. So I have wonderful two questions. So let's quickly move on to the next question. And here I would request you guys, to give me a brief answer about your thoughts. And my question is, what is your thought about approach towards mental health for men versus women? And over here, Paris, I would request you to start.
I think I'm a mental health worker. I'm also a coach and do counseling and therapy work. So when I see clients, I see in the past say about 1 year data. I would say 70% are women and 30% are men. So that talks a lot about that. Are men ready to talk about their mental health issues to a mental health worker? Or if I look at women, are pretty much open or ready to get into the process, while men requires a lot of time. It's a lot of trust space as well, and there is an alpha man within them that does not allow them, that makes them, hey, you're a strong man, you don't need all this thing, just have a drink, you'll be done, or move on. So I think there is a changing trend, and there is a need for the changing trend to establish more and more for men also to look at mental health more seriously, because a lot of suicides today we see in a lot of working class of men. So and then it's not only in India but across globe. If you see the data, you will infer that a lot of people who are, and in fact, in the last 6 months, the news that I see is threatening, scaring, about how men are just not communicating but just giving it up. So it's high time for people to men to talk and feel safe. And yeah, so that's something I could resonate a lot more.
Wow. Okay. That was something very serious that you brought in front of us, Paris. Uh, the seriousness to express because of the given conditions, how men are tending to look, I mean, suppress their own thoughts and feelings. I mean, yes, it is a tough time right now that is going around. So, yes, I will be coming to next question a little while later, which would address to something what you just said. So, I'm not going to waste more time. To this question, I would request Nasir, please give us your views about, the approach towards mental health for men versus women.
So, I strongly feel that the approach has to start at grassroots level in our school system. There was a time that sex education used to be a taboo, and then we started moving into kind of addressing that through our school system. If we are, able to access the young mind and let them know the ability to kind of express themselves is fine, there will be kind of an equity that will kind of form when it comes to mental health for men and women. To a big extent, men need to understand that, yes, you're looking after your dental health, you're looking after your physical health, your cholesterol health, but it sometimes just sits out here. And if you bottle it too much, everything else will just fall apart. So if we can address it at the base, at the grassroots, it will kind of set up a system that grows together.
Wow, that was powerful. Thank you. Mudit, let's understand your views here.
Yeah, I think on what Narcissus said about the grassroots level, and before that, what Paras said about have a drink and it'll be okay, and the alpha male really took me back to one of these shows I was watching, 2.5 Men, wherein Charlie Harper is this typical stereotypical alpha male, and he's with his other alpha male friends having drinks and they're chilling out, and his brother, who's not so up there on that ladder, says, what, this seems to be like a support group. And Charlie Harper goes, this is not a support group, you're just having fun. And all of these alpha males around him tell him, you're wrong if you say this is not a support group, this is a support group. So I think for men, the idea of the support group is maybe mingling like that, meeting over a game or over drinks. And for women, I think from the time when I noticed in school, girls can really very easily come together, discuss their emotional issues. But when boys come together, they're discussing about something that happened on TV, a game that they're watching, or something on those lines. So I really don't know, Ekktaa, when we're talking to a man about his emotional issues, can we go straight and talk about those emotional issues, or will it raise that iron curtain of defense? or can we penetrate that iron curtain gradually, talking about other issues, and then reach the core of what is going on? I think I'm still in that process of discovery, so I don't have a very clear answer to your question right now.
Let's wait it out and let's hear from the other panel members as well. And you beautifully highlighted Mudit about girls coming together and talking about the issues which are the internal issues, but boys normally end up talking about the peripheral issues. So you beautifully brought in some most important factor that is going back in my mind. So thank you so much. Chakor, can we hear your views, please?
Yeah, this question of men versus women, as Paras has said, and Nasir, Mudit also shared, Nasir shared, enriched panelists sharing their views. I think so. It could not be versus. Both mental health is an issue, but Paras's figure says 70% women come and 30% men come. So men by far were not supposed to speak about their mental issues, and only in serious cases they used to go for mental health or some kind of a therapy. And those stages, so probably females were referred to, or they had other mechanisms to share their mental issues, not necessarily therapies and all. But mental health topic was not there. It's only Tava-Mitram who has brought it up, at least for me. Yes, other topics or therapeutic requirements were there, both for women and men. And I strongly agree that these suicides, those are happening. If someone would have listened to them, had there been a forum for men to relieve their pressures, to share their stories, and someone to say, hey, it's not only with you, it's with me also. So the moment someone says that, there's such a great soothing factor which could avoid this, and we need some support system for men's mental health. And the funniest part, but very serious note, I would like to put here: it's only the men who are hearing this or listening as of now, which I see. Apart from you, Ekktaa. But yes, women also need to understand that men have mental health issues. They also need to take care of the mental health. The moment this is also explained, I think so half the issues of mental health of men would reduce. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Chakor. Just to give an idea, when we were thinking at Tava-Mitram, when we were brainstorming as to what topics do we include, you won't believe, Chakor, it was many women who came forward and mentioned that we need to have a topic like that. So when we were discussing, we were brainstorming, I told Paris, this is something which is coming out very loud because women out there also want to understand that how do we go ahead and engage in those mindful conversations, be it my father, be it my husband, be it my boyfriend, or my even son. So thank you so much, Chakor, for acknowledging that fact.
Can I share one small thing? On a lighter note, the
Sure.
first reaction from women is going to be, "Hey, you please tell them they need help." That's the first reaction you get. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Apoorv, over to you.
Sure. When we talk about difference between the approach of mental health for men and women, I have noticed one particular thing. There is a question: when does a man know that he has problems, and when does a woman know that she has problems? There is a specific difference between the answers to these questions. As per my observation, usually, not stereotyping anybody, but usually, a woman knows that she has problems when she realizes that she is tired of playing the role of the ideal mom or ideal wife, etc. On the contrary, a man tells me that he has problems specifically when he realizes that he doesn't find the finesse required to play the role of being a man. So it's the other way around for a man. A woman doesn't want to play the role of that specific scripted kind of woman, but the man kind of wants to play it because there is a program again that we are supposed to play it, and a man can't handle that. I'm weak, I'm not strong enough to play that role. So when we talk about mental health, the approach changes for men and women. In case of women, it's about they're kind of asking the permission to be themselves. Men are also asking for the same permission, but in a different fashion. They need to be, it's like they want somebody to open their eyes to this idea that it's okay if you're not playing that role up to the mark. It's okay if you don't think you're up to the mark. So I think that's the specific difference. There is one thing. Second thing I would like to discuss here is when both of them come together at the same time, they are both interested in kind of blaming the other. Like Mr. Chakor said, women immediately rush to declare that unko bolo, unko zyada zaruri hai. Similarly, the man says, no, she needs it more than me. So they are more concerned about playing the. So that's a similarity here rather than the difference. This is the second point here. Both of them are more interested in playing the victim rather than yes, saying yes that it's me who needs help. So that is one similarity over there.
Thank you so much. Apoorv. Over to you, Pawan.
Yeah. So we have had thoughts from all the panel members on this question. I'm just taking a detour and maybe a theoretical perspective. So approach towards mental health and versus women. I was reading on this topic and I was pleasantly surprised that there is a lot of research also going on in this space. However, the researchers are a bit confused on this topic. It was a very relatively new topic, and it's the reviews talk about that many researchers take it for granted that men's mental health can be explained in the same terms as women or can be gauged using the same measures. So, while women tend to create some internalizing like an anxiety, men generally experience more externalizing symptoms like violence, abuse. So these patterns are often attributed to gender differences in socialization, health seeking, coping, and socio-economic status. However, the measurement, which is currently inadequacy in the survey assessment of men's experience, and the practitioner's subconscious tendency overlook the male distress. So this to underestimating the prevalence of depression, anxiety among men. So continuing to focus on differences in mental health may actually obscure the significant within gender group differences due to symptoms shown by men. So I feel in order to better understand men's lived experiences and their psychological well-being, it's very crucial to focus exclusively on men's mental health and work towards helping men to deal. So I feel there's a research needed, further on research needed in this space, which will really help, bringing more structure. So I just wanted to share what I read, around this space, and it was really very, very nice to know that work is going on.
Thanks, Pawan. You're also, giving us an idea about opening a different, a different kind of thought altogether about doing more research on mental health for men. At the same time, it was slowly, steadily. Education is one of the powerful tools. So educating on that particular angle, I'm sure will help us to treat the stereotypes and the biases that happen in the society. So thank you so much for getting that in front of all of us. So yes,
Thank you.
last 5 minutes and we're going to close this discussion. So a quick one. I'm going to start this with Mudit. And, a quick question, maybe in like one liner, if I would want to hear from you. What is that one permission or message that you would like to give yourself towards, your own mental health or regarding mental health, one permission that you would like to give yourself? So let's start with Mudit, followed by Apoorv. Yes, Mudit, over to you.
Something that comes to surface for me, Ekktaa, is one. I will be more explicit about what I am feeling with, especially the people closest to me, and I will second also be explicit about asking them about the mental health and make sure they don't beat around the bush when we are having those discussions.
Excellent, thanks. Apoorv, let's hear from you.
I would like to give myself one permission that whenever and wherever A man comes to me and tells me that he wants to open up or he expresses his desire to take some kind of help from me. I permit myself, I would say, that I will always be there for him. I will not procrastinate. I will not try to avoid it. I will not give in to these social urges of not being there for a man, and I will not make it compulsory for him. No, be on your own. I will never say that. I will be there for him as his friend in non-judgmental way because he needs it, and if he needs it, then I got to be there. That's my duty, and I want to fulfill that duty.
Sure. Maybe you can be a friend to your own self as well. Thanks, Apoorv. Over to you, Paris. What would you like to share? Paris, you're on mute, I guess.
Yeah, I was on mute. So I think the message that comes to me is one permission of having congruency in my thinking, in my feelings and my actions, being vulnerable and not getting worried about being judged. It's just the way I am. It's just the way you are, and you're okay to be you, and I'm okay to be me. So I think that's the permission I want to give it to myself as a man, and all the men around the world, just inviting them to think about.
Wow, thank you. Nasir, let's hear your opinion.
Yeah, it's about giving myself the permission and letting myself know that, looking in the mirror, that I'm there for myself. Just that self realization, and also that, my family, my friends are there for me. So if there is something, I don't need to think twice for reaching out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pawan and then Chakor.
Yeah. So I'm truly delighted with all the conversations that we have had so far, and it's helping me to really give permission to myself to be what I am. And as Paras told, the congruence of what's happening within me, express the same externally. So
Yeah.
it's become now easy for me to give that permission now.
Wow. That's really powerful, Paris. Thoughts, feelings, and actions in congruency. Easy to say, but very difficult to do it. Let's hear it from Chakor.
Yeah, all these days I've become aware of my physical fitness. I'm got into jogging and all. But because of today's discussion and the enriched manner, like Apoorv, Pawan, and Mudit, and Nasir, and Dr. Paras, and you, there's something as mental fitness, and I'll give permission myself to really focus on my mental fitness as much as my physical fitness. Let me learn about it, and you all are there to reach to in case I need some to reach to someone. And at the same time, I will also make myself available to others where I could be a part of their journey towards their mental health.
Wow, that was really very powerful message, Chakor. It's not only about physical fitness, but also mental fitness. Thank you so much for opening up. So let me quickly conclude after listening to this wonderful gems out here. I would say what I have seen, I've been listening to all of you. What I feel is a lot of men still see mental health issues as a sign of weakness. Maybe because of the immaturity or conditioning by the society and image of the. Let me tell you, no one is immune to stress. Talking with others about how things are affecting you can foster empathy as well as support. Mental health issues are a lot more common than you may think. But by speaking up, I'm sure some men out here are trying to raise awareness. It's absolutely okay to drop your guard, feel vulnerable, and give yourself the permission to express the authentic feelings. Tava-Mitram today has made a small attempt to openly talk and address the space of rising need of mental health for men. As a society, we need to reduce the stigma and become more accepting towards this side of me. Let's bring a wave of change and get more inclusive in our thinking, feeling, and action towards men around us. And like Apoorv had mentioned, seeking help is a sign of strength. So let's celebrate the Ubermensch of men in our society as they express what they feel. Let's accept them how they are. So on this note, one quick closing remark from each one of you. Chakor, let's begin with you.
Yeah, the best session is where you yourself get aware and without being taught, you learn. So, this is one session thanks to Ekta and Paras, and I would always, and all the panel here, and I would always like to be a part of the journey of Tava-Mitram, which is not for profit and doing such a great work for mental health. So I'm always there. Thanks Pawan, thanks Mudit, thanks Nasir, thanks Apoorv, and Dr. Paras and Ekktaa. Thanks a lot.
Pawan, Chakor, we really appreciate the fact that you were just one caller. Thank you so much for being there. We really, really value it. Thank you. Apoorv, let's hear from you.
Most glad to be here. That's one thing. And for everybody who is listening to this video or watching this video, I will say just one thing. We are Tava-Mitram and we are here for you. So whenever you want to, let's meet, let's talk. This is a really beautiful idea that we are taking forward. And I'm sure we will take some concrete steps here and we will bring a really beautiful atmosphere for all men where they can be vulnerable and they can get help. And most importantly, they can be happy by being themselves. All the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, Apoorv. Mudit?
Really, Ekktaa, what comes to my mind is really gratitude to all the panelists for being so vulnerable and sharing. That allowed me to share more. And Ekktaa, also to you, you've been that silently in that corner, but you've created such a warm space from the time we've been having these conversations to the final one today. It really acted as the catalyst to allow us to share so much. So thank you.
I'm honored, Mudit. Thank you so much for sharing. Over to you, Paris.
So, first of all, this Navratri, I would like to wish you all happy times ahead, and may Goddess bring that wisdom to all of us, to all the men, the Adi Shakti, to all the men out there, and give the courage to voice out, to speak. And if you really would like to connect with us, we have also launched Tava-Mitram in Hindi. हमने तवमित्रम को हिंदी भाषा में स्थापित किया है, तो पूरी वेबसाइट और आने वाला जो प्रोग्राम है माय मेंटल हेल्थ माय प्रायोरिटी, ये भी पूरा हिंदी में आने वाला है। एक पूरे वीक में, इस कमिंग वीक में हम उसको लॉन्च करने वाले हैं। वेबसाइट हमने 10 अक्टूबर को लॉन्च की है। So this is where we are looking at, and thank you for your ongoing support. And Ekktaa, thank you for being a wonderful anchor and host and moderator, supporting this journey. To all my panelists who really openly shared their space with a lot of courage and compassion. Thank you.
I completely resonate with your thoughts, Paris. It really takes courage to come on a platform and openly talk. Yeah, I really, it's a wonderful panel discussion. Thank you so much. Nasir, over to you.
So thank you, Ekktaa, and thank you, Paras, for everything that you both do with Tava-Mitram to create awareness on mental health. I think it's commendable, and it's really appreciated, at least from me and my team, who has also got the opportunity to kind of become aware about mental health through all the programs that you do. To all that are listening out there, man, woman, anyone, if there is something that's bothering you, talk. Get together over a cup of tea, coffee, speak to each other, speak about, open your heart, and you'll definitely feel better. So God bless, stay blessed, and Godspeed.
Thanks, Nasir. Pawan, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so this conversation today around mental health has made me feel like stepping into a new tomorrow. Listening to the conversation, thank you all panelists that have been in this session. And it has been a wonderful contribution towards society by Tava-Mitram during this month of October. I thank Paras and Ekktaa for really leading this ahead. I would like to all the panel members who have been part of the earlier sessions and those who will be coming in the other panels that have been planned. So I'm really looking forward to the session on mental health for women, which is on 23rd of October. One world, many minds, mental health to mental well-being, a global perspective, wow, on 24th of October. And of course, you are stronger than you think, the Sarah special, 25th of October. So I don't know, how do you manage Ekktaa and Paras making all this come together? So hats off to all of you, and really excited to be part of this wonderful journey. Thank you so much.
Pawan, we have a wonderful team of Tava-Mitram Mitra coaches like you and all the panel people, Apoorv, Savita, and Chakor, and Nasir, and everyone around there. I think that all gives us a lot of strength to do it. So it's not just one person, it's an idea. So thanks for acknowledging that. But I think I give credit to everybody out there.
Absolutely. I was about to say that Tava-Mitram एक सोच है, and इस सोच को हमें आगे बढ़ाना है. We need to bring a wave of change to Tava-Mitram. So all of you people are contributing your time and skills. So we at Tava-Mitram are, would like to express our gratitude. Thank you so much. We really, really value your time, your efforts, your skills, coming out and openly talking about, how you feel, talking about a lot of sensitive areas about your life, expressing your own, I would say, own life experiences that you brought on this particular platform. That was really amazing for many of us to connect. So thank you so much, panel members. Tava-Mitram एक सोच आगे बढ़ सकती है क्योंकि हमें आपका support है. Thank you so much. So let me move on towards the closing very quickly. So just to let you know, the audience, if you haven't signed up for My Mental Health, My Priority campaign, then register yourself on the below link and get access to the free certification program. The link is very much mentioned on the screen. You would find it on our website, that is www.tava-mitram.org. Also, if you would like to, contribute your time, your skills with Tava-Mitram, you can definitely become a global Mitra volunteer today. You can go ahead on our website and you can join us. The information is also given on the screen. You would definitely find all of these details on our website, that is www.tava-mitram.org. And in case of any queries and questions, please mail us. You can write it to info@tava-mitram.org. It is mentioned on the screen. And yes, we have a series of panel discussions this month. Pawan has already eased my life talking about what are the panel discussions we're having this week. So please check the schedule on our website and you will definitely know more about it. So kindly accept my personal invitation. This Friday, we are going to have a live session about mental health for women. So in case of any queries or questions, you can definitely write it to us on info@tava-mitram.org. For more updates on this drive, and you want to know more about us, you can definitely follow us on our Facebook page and Insta handle Tava-Mitram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dr. Paras. And at the same time, if you want to join our Tava-Mitram Facebook group, feel free and join our Tava-Mitram Facebook group. That's all from my end. Thank you so much, lovely audience. Thank you so much, panel members. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you once
Thanks a
again.
lot.